Sit back, relax, put your belt on, and enjoy the show.
All right, let's move on to the Reds and the Brumbies. The last game, if that was anything to go by, that was spectacular. That perhaps could have been the Super Rugby game of the year in all forms of Super Rugby. I can't wait for this one. It's at Suncorp. Huge. Before we get into returning, what do you think is bigger, guys? The Reds at home in Suncorp or the Brumbies at home in GIO? What's got the bigger...
I can answer this.
Yeah.
Reds are on a 9-game winning streak. Brumbies are on a 1-game winning streak. I'm going Reds.
It's always, when you bring it back to the stats, it does make it look easy, doesn't it? No, very good. All right. Harry, do you want to take us through the returning players and any injuries or whatever?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, Will Miller, the milkman, has been signed for the Brumbies as an injury replacement for Jerome Brown. So he's not in the squad this week, but obviously he was actually, I think, their first choice open side flanker in the last couple of years. And he retired at something like 26.
27? Yeah, 26 or something.
Yeah, super young. So he's a really exciting player that we might see a little bit more of. And obviously they don't really rate Tom Cusack. And on top of that, you got Alan Alatoa coming back from his ban. It seems like his 3-week ban went for 6 weeks, but either way, he's back. So fantastic to see one of Australia's best props and leaders back in the game. And I assume he's the captain this week as well. And then Scotty Seo as well, back from his elbow injury. So they've actually got a lot of stocks back in the front row, where the Brumbies, to be honest, I thought were really struggling. So that'll be really important for them against the Reds.
Yeah, huge. Last time we met, we did talk about that, but it was 38-40. The Reds coming away with it, winning with that kick. It was a kick in the final. Was it past... final whistle? I can't actually remember, but
it was dying moments, wasn't it? No, it was the try, the Pattaya try, the grabber through.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And it was, I mean, look, that's almost a point per minute. It was a crazy good game. The Reds, it wasn't like, I thought at first it was kind of the lead kept changing, but no, the Brumbies got away to a lead and the Reds just brought it back.
The Reds won for 1 minute and it was the final minute. Yeah. Well, not even a minute, the final play.
Yeah, no, it was spectacular. The Reds, I think only one change made to the entire lineup, and that is the captain, Liam Wright, coming back in off the bench. I think that's exciting. Liam Wright was really showing some awesome form last year and some fantasy form last year, and obviously he's a big leadership figure for them. What do we see with him coming back into the fray? Obviously, only probably about 30 minutes for this game. Angus Scott-Young's been having a really good season. Fraser McWright's been having a really good season. Where does he fit into the picture?
I mean, everyone's thinking the same thing. They flick Angus Scott-Young back to the bench.
Yeah, look, I mean, sadly, it seems like the most realistic option for them. I think he does, Angus Scott-Young has a very large work rate and he does a lot around the paddock that he probably doesn't get as much credit for as, his back row partners. But if someone's expendable, it's probably him out of the three of them, sadly. But yeah, I think he's been really massive for them. His line-out options and things as well has been, really solid and a real strength for the Reds. But sadly, Wright's their captain and he's going to work his way back in. I see that's where he's going to do it.
And I think that's huge, bringing him off the bench with, 30, 20 to go. If the boys need a lift, not only a player to come on and make an impact, but to lift the boys, that's huge, having your captain come on. So that'll certainly play a lot. Otherwise, look, Dunguna is still on the bench. What's the deal there? What do we think's going on?
Look, I think last week they probably proved a point that, it's not necessarily having the best individual players out there, but, a team where you can get the most out of, your individual players. So you've got your 10, you've got a 15, you've got a 12 that can all provide opportunities. You've got even, one of your wingers giving you opportunities and putting them in the right spaces on the field, giving each other, better chances to really break the line. Rather than have, all-out attackers, they have a team that can, control where they need to be on the field. And, I just think it's probably a stronger lineup for them, but it'll be interesting to see how it works.
For sure. I think definitely it'll be a different play style with some of those playmakers in there.
Field position, mate. That's important.
Very good. Finishing off selections, Ryan Smith's been consistently starting over Angus Blythe. I thought Blythe is actually really good, but Ryan Smith must be doing something both in training and on the games. I haven't particularly seen anything, but probably getting too much airtime. I was just talking about it now.
Punt on the Dogs, and Morgan Turinui said he's his new favourite player. I think that's got a lot to do
Yeah,
with it.
no, he has made some great posts on Twitter, actually. A few in a row. I think he's been on fire, so that was very good. All right, and otherwise, just props. I mean, we've talked about this quite a few times throughout the season. I think we all thought at the start of the season Harry Hoopert was your starting loose head prop, but they have been rotating between Xander and Theo Fotuaika.
And Hoopert started, I think, at the first game as well, didn't he? Or he was even
I think so.
at the start as well. So
yeah,
He did.
it's really hard to tell just because of injuries. I think Xander's injured now as well. My gut feeling is Xander's their new favourite.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
Yep.
And whilst, look, Zane Nongor's certainly been getting more and more minutes, I think this could be one of those games where they just play Taniela Turbo out the 80, so against the Brumbies. I guess it depends how they're going. But, yeah, not much to change.
Tight.
Sorry?
Yeah. It's probably going to be tight. I don't think they'll go, we're 20-30 ahead, let's bring him on. Yeah, jumping across to the Brumbies, it was interesting. Tom Wright walking straight back into that starting side. Andy Muirhead's just gone from strength to strength, really proving that he deserves that Wallaby squad call-up. Compared to...
Will not accept that.
Sorry, mate. Compared to makeshift wingers for the Reds, we talked about them missing Vunivalu and Daugunu, and they've got Jock Campbell, they've got Jordan Pataya. Look, I think Jordan Pataya should be out on the wing at the moment. I think he's making too many errors at that 13 jersey, but it's two class finishers versus two makeshift wingers. So that'll be a really interesting point between these two sides.
Yeah, and my gut says the Reds are going to be dominant here, but let's go back to Iray Simoni and Lenny Cattell. Like, how good are those two been? There's actually so much depth in these back lines. It's going to be a really, really good battle. I can't wait to see how it goes. And I always think that if the back lines are pretty evenly matched, you go to the forward pack, and whoever can get dominance in that area generally wins the game. So I think the Reds have probably looked to their bench a little bit in that second half by picking their captain on the bench. You know, they're obviously expecting it to come down to a late one. So that's kind of one of the biggest things for me. You got the captain coming off the bench for them, and the Brumbies are probably a little bit thin in that area at the moment.
Yep.
I think, the exciting battle for me is going to be that Paisami and Ikitau battle. You know what I mean? Paisami is going to have that extra onus to just be hunting him down, because you give Ikitau a millimeter of space and he is electric. So that's going to be really exciting to see. And yeah, I guess the last thing we'll talk about for this game is for fantasy managers, with Brendan Paenga-Amosa starting, I think, for the third week in a row for the Reds, despite Alex Murphy having a fantastic season. Look, I think we've always said BPA is probably a stronger scrummager, and this is certainly a game where that's needed. But look, I think BPA is understated. Certainly Murphy has been awesome, but you know, we again forget that Brendan was the starting Wallabies hooker by the end of last year. So I probably expect him to, I mean, it's hard to say, but keep starting. Murphy will certainly get some more starts this year, but for any of those fantasy managers wondering what's going on, it's really hard to say, I guess. Do you guys see anything differently?
No, I think it sums it up. Look, I think they're both options. It might be occasionally a horses for courses, but, you know, Brendan Paenga-Amosa was their out-and-out starter last year. So I'm not surprised that he's getting a couple matches in a row here.
All right, tips for this one. Nels, you can go first.
Well, I can't go against the Reds. I think the Reds are going to win this in Queensland. The Brumbies had some frailties last week, which, you know, they're going to have to turn around to really challenge the Reds here. So I'm going to say the Reds will not break away. The Reds will get a win, and I'll say it'll probably be by 6 points.
Yeah, you got to back the team at home. I think massively in these games, every single time they play, it's how the Reds can can defend against the Brumbies rolling maul, and I'm yet to see them actually have a good answer for that. So that's worth a couple of tries to the Brumbies. So to me, I'm going to go a small margin as well, 3 points.
Yeah, I wanted to go the Reds by a bit more because of Liam Wright coming back, but the Brumbies also have Alatoa coming back as well. So I think it'll be a close one. I forget what Nell said, but I'm going to go the Reds by 5. Is that what you said?
I said 5 or 6, mate. I'll take 6. That's fine.
Sounds